Hello and welcome to the Every Other Saturday podcast, a brand new episode this week where what's to be said. It's like you don't want to do this episode, but kind of has to be put out there. It kind of has to be documented about how shite we are and how bad this season has been, because that result on Sunday basically just ended all hopes of anything positive this season. We've now got 5 games left in the league, but we're out of the title race. Dead rubbers were out of the Scottish Cup now. Obviously, before in the season, worst Champions League team, beating the League Cup final off Celtic as well. It's been an absolute disaster of a season, to put it lightly. It was just kind of the final nail in the coffin on Sunday. All that obviously good play gets you nothing if you've not got players in the pitch that can go and score you big goals to win you big games, and that's basically what it's boiled down to. So in this episode, we'll talk about that game, we'll talk about the team, because there's some harsh words I think we've both kind of put out of our system now. It's maybe not as fired up as it was after the game on Sunday, but it's definitely still there. Definitely still there. And we'll also just talk about the Aberdeen game. I didn't even bother making a team prediction. I've just put a few photos of the players I want to see get minutes in these last games now. But as always, if you could like, subscribe and share for us, let us know your thoughts on Rangers seasons. I'm hoping it will probably be quite the same as us, but let us know. First off though, we have to start on the note of Jimmy Bell, a year since a true Rangers past. The man who understood it, and again, with every sort of passing day, since that moment, it's just felt like Jimmy Bell's aura has been missed around the place. I mean, obviously spending that long at a club and overseeing like huge players come to the club, massive players, icons of the club, to then obviously last season where we delivered against Leipzig for him as well. It's just, it's obviously really sad still that we're at that point, but I just thought I'd put that in at the start. So Todd Cantwell is a new whipping boy, according to every Celtic page that I've seen. Obviously, not wanting to give Hatate a drink of water. I mean, why would you give a rival anything? Let's be honest. But he's the one that can sort of hold his head up high. After that game, you can sort of see the vision, see the direction he's going in. You can see his motivation to want to play for the badge. Obviously, he's still new, so he's not going to come under a lot of criticism even if they did play poor. But I mean, you could play that guy anywhere, and he would give you his all, and that's all you'd really want. You want players that can go and perform for you on this stage. You just wish the other team around them were competent. But it was a really poor day at the office. That's the team that started the game. We'll start with Alan McGregor. I mean, for the goal, it's not his fault. It's a defensive mishap. Apart from that, did Celtic have a chance? I can't even remember them having a shot after that goal, which is the more annoying thing about the full game. They didn't threaten, they didn't impose themselves on us as much as they could. They weren't in the game, exactly, and we dominated it all and still couldn't score. But Al McGregor had really nothing to do.
No, I had. Well, I could have just sat up there with a deck chair and a paper and he'd have been all right.
Aye, pretty much.
Nothing to do.
James Tavernier, I mean, I thought he was the only player that kind of, alongside Todd Cantwell, looked interested in getting forward and actually trying to do something.
I know we've been harsh on him, but I would say Lundstram as well, mate. I thought Lundstram, he had a...
no, obviously we'll go on to Lundstram. I thought he was
but
he was good as well.
I thought Tavernier was better in the second half than he was in the first half. First half, he was getting, passing wasn't anywhere good enough. Balls into the box weren't anywhere good enough. But maybe that was just down to frustration of some of the Doug Rudder behind that was beside him and playing on that part with him. But I definitely, 100% will need another right back coming in for me as well. But in the summer also we'll talk about that. But no, I thought he had a decent second half again, drove us forward and looking to try and create something.
I genuinely thought, obviously he gets stick and he will get stick and he'll continue to get stick if he doesn't win trophies as the captain of Rangers. 100% that's warranted. But I mean, looking at his performance, I think he done all right from an attacking standpoint, and Celtic didn't really do anything going forward. Connor Goldson was obviously back in for this one as well. The defence is just so much better with him in it. Just just the people's captain as always, a guy that you can't really ever say much bad about. Obviously, he had a couple of whole defense was sleeping for the goal. Let's be honest, but I don't think again he's one of the main culprits of that goal. Obviously, it's a unit as a team. We need to react better in moments like that, 100%. But I thought Goldson was welcomed back in that defense.
Stress levels are always not all down, but they're slightly down when you know Connor Goldson is playing for you. No, I thought for come back in for obviously his wee knocky head there was solid. Just Connor Goldson being Connor Goldson really. And Davies as well, two of them together. I told you he was going to start them. I thought the two of them together were it's the same as they usually are.
I thought again, as you say, that partnership is good, and it's annoying that you're saying positive stuff about a team that just get beat. Because although it's like I'm done with a lot of this squad, like the performances on the day were all right. The left hand side is where it does start though. Borna Barisic is absolutely fucking dug meat, and he should just go. I mean, that's another goal now where it's sort of down that left hand side, although it's obviously a miscommunication for everybody in that part. But
well, to be fair to him as well, if you're going to hang with him for the goal, Tavernier needs to be brought up as well. Slate him at the back. Obviously, we played to the whistle, absolutely 100%, but still, Tavernier for me caught Natman at the back. But Barisic, I've been saying it all along, even when everybody was praising him when we were fantastic. It boggles me how he's up for Player of the Year. Because he should be up for probably Exit of the Year as well for me. He has to go. I don't see, as I said, the point in paying the money we paid for Yilmaz. He obviously has an injury.
Came on and he actually done all right, I thought as well.
All right, and I thought for that moment on when he comes on, he should never be dropped again. He should start the remainder of the games because we're getting that to play for. Barisic for me, it's 100%. He's got to go. He's not good enough for me.
No,
put the ball in the box. That's it. It's always
and that's a big talking point, obviously, after the game is who you would actually keep for this team. And I've seen Heart and Hand podcast, obviously reliable when it comes to news close to Rangers, saying Ben Davies is going to be sold as well. So if that happens, that's obviously big because he just joined. But is Ben Davies really the level you require to go and win leagues? I think he's an able deputy to another guy coming in, but I don't know if he's good enough to start all these games. I would think he's an option, but that's maybe it.
You know, you're starting centre half, so
nah.
You don't think they two getting a summer together and then a pre-season?
Well, I would like to play a different formation as well. So, but that's just
obviously we've all wanted to play a different formation.
But I think Davies, I think he's fine enough to be an option. I don't know, but a starter. And again, it's you just look at the price tag. It's like $4 million for a guy who.
I look at the club he was at, but you know what I mean.
It's just that whole summer just stank. He just pure overpaying for players. Aye, and I think maybe that plays into it. But Barisic should 100% be gone. He shouldn't start another game for Rangers. He's crap, and the fact that he's even up for Player of the Year, I mean, that just shows you how bad the season has been that he's even in that running. But John Lundstrom came in. That's more like the Lundstrom you saw. That's more Lundstrom you're expecting in games like this. I thought he was really, really good, to be fair. I thought he was probably the best player on the pitch. And I can't believe I'm even saying that because I've watched John Lundstrom this season. But fair play to him.
No, fair play to him indeed. As you say, criticise him when you're going to criticise him, but you've got to also give him praise when he performs. And for me, he performed. And as I say, he was going in for the 50 tackle, and looking strong. A couple of times, and as well, he's just played overall his game. It was more like the old Lundstrom, the Lundstrom we all love and we want to see. So he had a real positive game, as you say, mate.
He had a positive game. I thought he was decent. Raskin, though, obviously at fault for the goal. Although he's just in the door, you need to hold your hands up and be like, mate, just play. Just why do you think it's a foul? Just if the referee's no blow his whistle, just get on with it. It's just so schoolboy, and the fact that you get beat with a goal like that as well, it's just even more sickening. But I thought apart from that, again, it's kind of similar to what you've been seeing for Raskin. He's positive, he's energetic, he's physical in the midfield, and he's just like one of the players you want to just keep on seeing developing. At the club, obviously, he's came in. We can't wait on the two of them have been welcome additions.
Absolutely, mate. As you say, fault for a goal, but I mean, really is, isn't it? It's just
Nah,
I don't know much to say. I'm asking really. I just think to myself, bro. Yeah, to be honest with you, mate, I'm saving myself till we get forward. We get to the forwards here because I'm done with a lot of them. Really, to be fair, I'm done with a lot of them.
well, we'll start on the more positive side, then we'll go to Todd Cantwell first.
Batman
Obviously,
play his
we
heart out. He'll play his heart out for you, as you said, mate. Honestly, as you say, play him in any position. You could probably put him at centre half with Connor Golson. He'll give you everything he's got. I love the boy to bits. He's my new favourite player. And all you want to see for him, as I'll say, is you want to see him step up maybe a bit more in terms of goals and assists in these big games, these big occasions. I see that next season for him, personally for me. But right now, as I say, my favourite player. I don't care how petty and hangme it is. See moving the water away and hangme, love it. Do it every time. You should have turned around and laughed at him and told him, "You ain't getting water, pal. On you go."
we
Sling it
just
up.
we need more. We need more of that. I don't care how petty it is. I don't care how
Love it
it pisses off Celtic fans. So I don't care. Do it. Keep doing it.
every day of the week. There,
I mean, you look at Greg Taylor ripping Barisic, she's fucking shut.
aye,
Like with his neck and try to pull him up and that. You're looking at what they're doing to you, and then they're getting offended because you move water away. Like, aye, just that's a whole
man.
nother debate. You could make a full podcast about
Probably could.
ambulance chasers, but um, aye, it's just one of the things you like. Todd Cantwell's obviously got the talent to go and play as well. He was a driving force for the full game. I thought he was actually going to get subbed as well. I can't even remember who came on.
Oh, I can remember who came on. I can't wait to talk about him.
Honestly, it's just blown out my mouth. Obviously, Matondo, Arfield, came on Haji. Aye, Sakala, actually, I forgot. Aye.
Oh,
But I Todd Cantwell, I thought, again, quite impressive. Just you need them to go and win you these games rather than just kind of working hard. But I guess that will hopefully come because he's going in the right direction. Tillman, obviously, he was injured. Unfortunate for him because you would want him to go and make his mark in an Old Firm game in a big game. Then who's to say he wouldn't go and do it? But I kind of need to skip over him. We'll talk about Arfield then and now. Obviously, he came on, was about 20 minutes in. I absolutely despise Scott Arfield. It's been pretty wanted on this podcast. If you've watched this for a while, I'm not a fan of Scott Arfield, but I thought he was really good against Celtic. I thought that cliche is used a lot. Oh, he knows what it means, but maybe sometimes you do need that when your team are like lacking confidence in the fixture. And I thought he came on, he was positive, and I thought he was decent. What was your thoughts on him?
Typical, Arfield's going to come on and give you always got, especially in these kind of games. Can we just move on to number 14 and number 20, please?
14, Ryan Kent used to be one of your most devastating players. One of your guys that we could rely on to go and win his games and go and create chances for the strikers who would normally score goals, but now they don't. And then you're now looking at Ryan Kent that loses possession in his own half by trying to do a Cruyff turn and basically do nothing for the first half and get hooked. That should be his last game for the club.
To me, that is last. I don't even want to. I never really want to see him play again. As I say, mate, there used to be a Ryan Kent where when we'd play Celtic, he would be the one spark you would think that's the guy they all fear. When he gets on the ball, he's going to create something's going to happen. Just looked like he couldn't wasn't he up for it? Just didn't care about the game at all, really. Which in that case, as I say, I'll happily show him the door because I don't want to play like that at my club if he can't be asked to play for the club in the biggest game of our season. It's been absolutely a disaster.
Credit to Beale for hooking him off at half time. He could have kept him on.
Well, it shows as well, but obviously Beale's known Kent for a very long time and what have you, but it shows that he's not going to play favourites as well there for me as well, because he could have probably just kept him on because that's his boy, do you know what I mean, the way Gerrard did. That's my boy, I'll keep him on. But the fact he went, nah, you're not doing it, mate, you're off. I like that. But you should have told him, you're down the tunnel and just hop in a car, mate, and just get down to Burnley or go to Fenerbahce or wherever you're linked to. Because I generally don't. I just think he might need a change as well.
It's what needs to happen for us as a club and for these players that obviously have been good servants to the club, and the way they're going to leave the club, I think, is the most heartbreaking thing, because you've looked at Ryan Kent and he's been
Should have
an
won more.
ever-present player. Of course, he should have won more, and he should have been more commemorated at Rangers with trophies. But he leaves, and he will leave. Obviously, we've been a good servant for the club for that many years, but you're looking at it and you're boiling it down to a waste of money now because he's going a free. And it's unfortunate that it had to go the way it does for him and Alfredo Morelos. Alfredo Morelos is a guy I never thought I could ever come on here and ever say anything bad about, but I don't think I'm even watching the same. Like, that's not Morelos up front, surely. Like, he just offers you absolutely nothing anymore.
Nothing. Best words to say about it. That's not the guy we all adore. That is generally not the guy. I mean, we're all going crazy for, but no, to me, he's done, man. He's done. He's finished. He's generally offers you absolutely nothing. And I would admit, as I said to you before, I'd rather play Tillman up front. I'd rather play Tillman as a lone striker than honestly play Morelos, because it's, as you say, it's done, and it's just a sad state for me. With him in Kent, man. You'd love to see them go out knowing that they won more trophies and they were successful in that regard. But I obviously shed a tear when Morelos goes, because
That's the thing. It's obviously you're speaking of this now, and then obviously that'll happen. I think he's one of the players that in this era where it's not been successful enough
you
for the
look
club,
back and you'll be like,
you look back
Morelos
and you'll be like, he's a guy you can remember really fondly. Obviously, the way it ended is going to be sour, but I think
never
for
been.
everything he's done at the club, it's been good.
I mean, for a guy that always, as you say, got the stick, no matter what situation or what have you, it was always Morelos this, Morelos that. Just, you know what I mean? You still adore him. You always adore him, but I just think it's time, as I say, same with Kent, it's time for these guys to move on. And don't get me wrong, I think Morelos could probably go to Turkey, do well. I think Morelos could probably go to Spain, mid-table team, do you know what I mean? Do well. He can get away with scoring a couple of goals and then just half-arsing it for the rest of the season, do you know what I mean? Whereas for me here, you can't. You've got to be in shape. You've got to be constantly willing to, do you know what I mean? Do the hard yards, do stuff you don't want to do. But it's generally an empty jersey, and that's just it's just no good enough at all, mate.
And then we finally need to talk about the miss of the century, probably. I mean, how can
This guy.
you play 2 games at Hampden and have the identical chance and miss both of them into an open goal? Like, that is literally him summed up.
But he's got a great smile, so it's all right. He's got such a lovely smile and a lovely face. It's all right.
It really annoys me because I was always rooting for Sakala. I was always rooting for him. Like, he produces goals. He can get his assists. He can be a threat off the bench. If you miss open goals in an Old Firm game at Hampden to get us into a final, like, that should be it. Then I'm happy for it to be like that, because we cannot afford to have players like that, to rely on players like that. They can't even score into an empty net.
I mean, I've just never thought about, do you know what I mean, getting a gun and shooting somebody. No, I'm not joking. No, just how can you miss that, man? And it's the exact same shot he had the last time, and just to rattle it the way he is over the bar. I think I've been getting sleepless nights, but thinking about that miss, I'm going to be getting even more just thinking about it right now, mate. It was just you can't have a player like that, mate. As I say, 1 minute does something you think, how the hell's he done that? Then the next minute he can't do the basics of football. It's just like he struggles to play basic football. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
No. It's just simply like, for all the goals that he might score, you cannot afford to have a player that you can't rely on in these big games. And the reality is, this season, we've not been able to rely on anybody, really.
Exactly, I was about to say, you can't. There's not been one of them you can so hardly rely on. Maybe Goldson, and even obviously give him stick, because he's always going to get stick. Obviously, Tavernier still put him in with the goal. And you think about the last Old Firm, he was about the only one that was going forward and putting the ball in the net. But no, I just you can't. A lot of these players aren't good enough, and it's time for change, and it's time that a majority of them head for the exit, though.
No, and Michael Beale's made that pretty apparent. Obviously, he kind of kept his cards close to his chest when talking about Ryan Kent and Morelos' contract situation. I think he's been asked pretty much every press conference since he came back to the club. And I think the most alarming thing that he said was after the game, he was like, is this the last game at Hampden? He said possibly yes. So to me, that kind of signals that both of them will be leaving the club, and
Somebody
he
will.
says it's going to be a huge rebuild. This will probably be the biggest rebuild we've had to do in years. So,
Something
aye,
that, sorry, mate, but it's also something that we should think with as well. The manager as well. What's that? Fourth Old Firm game? And it's another defeat for him.
aye, but it's that 3 defeats and 1 draw.
Well, I 3 defeats and 1 draw. I can well. We don't count anything that's not a win, Jack. Come on. No, I'm not joking. But no, it's I don't know. That's concerning as well when you think about that.
Oh no, I 100% think the pressure is on the manager now as well. To obviously he can't control who's going to miss an open goal in a game.
Oh, absolutely. No, you can't control
I
shit.
think the play, the way we play in the game is like great. Like
We
I think
dominated the game.
dominate the game. That's what you want to do. You're making chances. You just need to have players that are good enough to go and score them and create them and do better on that front. But I think as an actual team playing, I think I can maybe looking back at it over the past couple of days after obviously the emotions, the game had just finished, kind of transpired. I can see us playing some good football when he's got his own players there, and that's when you need to judge him when he gets the first Old Firm game of next season. I mean, if you get beat there again with your own team, your own players, your own identity on that, I mean, that's going to be huge for a lot of people turning against the manager. But I'm willing to give him time. I'm willing to get rid of these useless cunts because they've basically not done it for Gio either in that period last season. So it just still blows my mind that he even got us to a Europa League final and beat PSV this season. Like that's just with this group of players, I can't believe that. But I genuinely feel that as soon as that whistle blew on Sunday, that felt like that team died. That was it, and I think a lot of the fans kind of felt that as well. And it's time to proper overhaul this squad and basically get
Well,
a 12 to 15 new
we need
players in the
to
summer.
be ripped up, and obviously next week we will be doing what we're doing. But as I say, I just obviously is a bit concerning with that. But once he gets his own players in, as we're saying here, and really get to see what it's about, that's what it's saying. Because I'll fully back Michael Beale. I really hope Michael Beale is the guy to succeed and take us forward. But just as I say, it's something just to
You
think
can't
about.
keep getting beat off Celtic. It's as simple as that. That's what will lose your job. So, aye, obviously we've got one game against them for the rest of the season. That'll be the one you look at and be like, right, show us what you can do with the pressure off. Can you beat Celtic?
Obviously,
And
the
the
pressure's
pressure's probably on to beat them, but then the pressure's
aye,
off because there's obviously nothing there. You're
aye,
literally
like,
just
like,
playing
you
for
still got
pride, aren't
to,
you?
but you still, you're playing for pride, but you still go out there and you just, you know what I mean? Listen, get there and show still. Do you know what I mean?
Nah, no, of course, but aye, that's that. Obviously, we've got 5 games left. The next one coming up is Aberdeen.
And who gives
As I said at the start of the episode, usually I would run through the team that I would like to see play and what Beale will do this and that. But realistically, I don't care who plays the game. I just want to see these players coming up next get a chance in the next 5 games. Starting off with Robin McCrory, the guy that's been left in the wilderness, the guy that's been asked many times, I think, in press conferences, will he get his opportunity? Beale said he's going to get his opportunity before the end of the season, so just put him in goals for the last 5 games. Put him out there, see what he's up to. Obviously, we've seen him for a very brief spell last season. They done all right in 2 big games, so let's see it. 5 games. It's your position to lose, mate, because the 2 goalkeepers aren't going to be here next season, and it's not all about sentimentality. McGregor's last game and whatever. Just give the guy who's going to be here next season a chance. And obviously the rumours of Jack Butland are kind of growing stronger and stronger, but who's to say Robbie McCrory doesn't go and start the season strong next season? So all I want to see is how good he is. If he's not good enough, fair enough, but it's like you can't judge him.
if you're going to see him play.
So
It's as simple
so
as that.
so hopefully.
No, hopefully we do get to see him, get a chance, come out of the wilderness. Aye. And as I say, potentially number 2 next season with the rumours obviously Butland coming in. But definitely somebody I want to see play. As I said, the 2 games he played, he single handedly, do you know what I mean? Got us through. He got a kick to the face if I remember in the European game.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I definitely want to see McCrory play, man.
No, definitely. The next one's obviously Radvan Yilmaz coming back
Aye,
for injury.
there's no
Came
question.
on. and he should be starting, no
I
question about it.
don't ever want to see Barisic. If I know for a fact he might, but I really don't want to see Barisic play again. I really don't. I've had enough of watching that. Thank you very much. This is a guy we paid money for potential, the potential of the player, what he could be. You've got to give the guy games. You've got to give him minutes. What a perfect time to do it in games that don't really matter.
No, because he obviously came on and he looked the part. I think he created a few chances as well. He got forward and again, it's just like, why have we not seen more of this guy? Why have we just relied on Barisic just because he's been here longer? Like, these players are never going to develop at the club if you just don't give them a chance. And the biggest thing is obviously to see him play. The next one is a guy that we've seen on the bench a couple of times. A guy who was 15-year-old and could play in the Championship for Millwall, by the way, but he's been in our development team all season. Zach Loveless. None of the strikers are good enough anymore. So give the guy that's in the youth team a chance to go and impress in the next 5 games. Give him as the opportunity, because I've been looking forward to see him all season. I think he came on in one of the cup games at home. Apart from that, he's been on the bench a couple of times.
No, definitely. Give him a shot because everyone else is useless, man. And you say if you're that young and you're that good to play for Preston Championship, you've got to give him a chance, mate. At least, you know what I mean. I'd like to see it.
No, definitely. The next one's Rabbi Matondo.
Let him cook.
Obviously came on and Sunday, and again, I thought he was positive. He's kind of took his chance off the bench, which is really nice to see because I've waited for him to do that, and I think he's looked more confident, which is good to see.
No, he's looked more confident, which is good as well. And he's coming on, and he looks like he's got a wee bit of belief and confidence about himself, which is so important for a young lad. As you say, forget how young he is as well, mate. So I just like to see him. Come on, get a couple of minutes, look sharp. I really, mate, as I say, I don't really. Who cares about these games? You know what I mean? But good to see the young lads get minutes, but we all know what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, I know. Obviously, Aberdeen is like, regardless of what you're doing, you can obviously want to beat them. But it's just like it's at the point now where I'm like, I just want to see players that are going to be here beyond next season, get minutes. And the last one's Ianis Hagi. Ianis has kind of been a little hung out to dry a bit, only getting 5 minutes here and there at the end of the games to go and change stuff. And I just want to see him in for the start now, because obviously signed that new contract. A lot of fans saying they would get rid of him.
I wouldn't.
I still think he can possibly be an asset, but I need to see how he is after this injury first. We've not seen enough of him yet. So definitely another one I want to see before the end of the season. But they're the players for me. Don't care really who else plays. Just want to see these guys get some time in the pitch.
I can agree with that, mate. But I'm just waiting for the summer, and we see the clear out who's going, which is hopefully the majority of them. And obviously next week we're doing the episode that I'm chomping at the bit to do personally.
Aye.
It's just it's been a disaster, as you say, if you start to finish, season to forget, and you just hope next season Bill can get the players in that he wants in. He's ready the players that aren't good enough to be here anymore, and we go on and we try and bring some silverware back to the club.
Aye, because Bill now has got a massive task on his hands. I think obviously him coming into the club again, he was obviously up for that, but do you think he believed it would be this big a rebuild?
I no. I don't think. I think there's been certain players he thought they won't let me down, like Sir Ryan, that have probably let him down. That he thought he could have trust in, have faith in, maybe bring their confidence back as well. And new players, maybe he was excited to work with, that he thought, good potential there that maybe haven't impressed him as much. But definitely there's some players within the team that have let him down, and you know who they are, to say. So I think he's had to probably rethink his whole entire thing. I know he was going on about how the summer plans are going to be in full effect and what have you, but don't know, man. You can't just. You've got to just assess it all properly. I don't want people coming into the club, as I say, that aren't going to give 100%, that aren't going to be committed to the cause. They win trophies and being successful here. I like Cadwell, as I say, Cadwell's my favourite player. You can tell he wants to be successful and he wants, do you know what I mean? He wants to bring the pride back to the jersey. So I am just looking forward to the summer, mate, and just seeing who's going and who's staying. But we all know we're going to get the notification one more year for McGregor and Arfield.
Aye. I know this is it, but I'm looking forward to next week's episode where we can go in detail and proper rank everybody and see where we see them. I think that's going to be interesting to see where we end up with these players. But I think a lot of them will be kind of guessed by now. But if you did enjoy the episode, as always, like, subscribe, share for us, and we'll be back with that episode next week.